Alright, let's review Nuka-World. I have to do that screen first, it's a problem. So, can you start now? Where to begin with Nuka-World? Let's begin with the spider on my ceiling. So, I think, okay. Loading. I know, I'm sorry about the loading. With Nuka-World, I think it starts out really good. And I don't want to spoil the beginning because I feel like the beginning is the best part, but you're basically go to the train station, and the train station takes you to Nuka-World. And the whole beginning is very evocative of Bioshock to me. Because you're on a tram and you're looking all around and you're seeing all these things, and then you get there and there's a guy on the intercom talking to you, and you're going through traps, and it's this linear. And that's cool. The talk show's fun, as evidenced by talking. I have to have the loading to kind of break it up, but just like Fallout, haha. Now, so I don't want to spoil the beginning and all that story stuff, so I'm going to talk more about the rest of the DLC, because I do think it starts strong and then kind of spirals out of control. The whole deal with Nuka-World, which, by the way, can we look at how dark this game is at night? It's a real big problem to me. The game at night is almost unplayable. It's so boring and drab looking. This is maybe why HDR is needed. I don't know. But doesn't fall short. Yeah. The thing with Nuka-World is it's such a good idea on paper, right? It's this giant amusement park, and there's a spider on my ceiling, by the way, if I ever look up. That's why. He's attacking me. There's all these different parks, like Disney World. Each one has its own theme, each one has its own story, and it all sounds great and very interesting. And then you start going to these places, and it's not that, like, I'm going to spoil one of the places you go to, which is the Western World. So the Western World basically is, looks like a canyon, and there's a little saloon, and there's the central passage that's where you do the little shootout, in the Western movie. There's the minecart area and the roller coaster with the minecart, and then, yeah, spiders do not like. And then there's a little theater. So in this Western World, you go there, and there's a little robot man with a little sheriff hat, and he seems to think everything's fine, I'm just doing my job. And there's a bunch of bloodworms coming out of the ground. Each little world has its own little enemy. So this area has the bloodworms. So you go, and I gotta complete these quests to get access to the minecart area. And he's like, oh, my 3 robot friends each have one part of the code. And you go to his robot friends, and one of them wants you to duel with him, so you just shoot him, and okay, he's done. And then you go to the other guy, and you have to serve 3 drinks. And then you go to the other guy, and he's like, I lost my pony. And his pony's in the garbage, and you take it out of your inventory, and you throw it on the ground. Then you have all 3 parts of the code. Then you go to the theater, you turn the code in, you get the key, you go to the indoor area, which is a nice little shooter section. And then you've killed all the bloodworms, and now the area is inhabitable for all these raiders to go into. That's fine. That's literally the entire area, though. And everything is not thinly veiled. It's 100% straightforward what it is. These quests exist just to get you to go to every part of the map they've made, which is fine, but they're so on the nose and kind of dumb, especially with the Western World. I'm spoiling one of the worst ones in terms of like story and plot. Each world has its own backstory. An interesting thing, there's one that takes place in the bottling plant. So you're going through it, and it tells you like the history of Nuka-World. But of Nuka-Cola. This is where the big problem of Fallout and the DLC kind of gets into it, is that you'll be walking around, oh, I started making Nuka-Cola in 2163, and my grandpappy used to put sugar in the thing, and you're like listening to this story, and this is the story of Nuka-Cola Dark, it's the alcoholic beverage, and you're listening to all these things that are interesting and compelling enough on their own, except the game doesn't have any confidence in it, or whatever, and it just starts throwing enemies at you. So I'm trying to listen at this amusement park where it's a water ride. It's a small world basically, and there's little dioramas of the world and people drinking Nuka-Cola, and you're hearing this cool narration, but the entire time you can't hear the narration or focus on it because there's Mirelurks trying to murder you the entire time. And that same thing is true with every area. There's another place that's like a fun house, and there's just ghouls everywhere. It's like, this would have been cool without the ghouls. I don't need that. I got the narration. This guy in the intercom talking to me, being like, "You get out of my area," blah, 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 blah. Very Bioshocky, but in a shitty way. Not as good as Bioshocky. And what was the other area that I was going to bring up? Oh, there's this other place where you go and you tour a vault. It's basically an advertisement for the vaults in Nuka-World. And it's got this interesting narration, like, this is the future, you could go into the vault, and da da da. But everything's trying to kill you. You can't focus on the narration. You can't be immersed in the story. It's constantly trying to throw enemies at you because it thinks you're going to get bored. It doesn't have any confidence in itself. If this DLC, check on the spider, this DLC could have 80% fewer fights or enemies in it. 20% of the amount of enemies in it, and it would have been so much better. There's the Mystery Mansion. It's an optional area off to the side. When you have Disney World, you have these little places off the side of the park that are not associated with it, but are tourist traps, kind of. So there's this murder mystery place, and you go into it, and it has this narration of this creepy girl has some weird problems, that she killed her parents, and they found her hanging in the attic and whatever. And you're walking through it, and you're like, this is really cool narration. This is kind of spooky. And each door opens at the end of each section, so it's doing this narration, and it's got creepy paintings on the wall, and then the door will open to the next area. It's automated. And then you go to the next area, and the furniture's on the ceiling. I'm like, this is the creepy room where they found the furniture on the ceiling. I'm like, this is cool, this is atmospheric. But the entire time, everything's trying to kill you. And at a certain point, they try to do this spooky thing where the girl killed her parents, right? And you turn the corner into a room, and the girl would go into the door, and it would shut behind her, and you're like, did I just see that? Did I just see that? However, because I spawned the enemies and I kind of backed out of the room, the girl, who's supposed to be a hidden ghost, not actual person who's there, ran out of the room and into the rest of the world. And I'm just like, why is there any combat here? Why? You could have had the one guy at the end, and I fought him, and it wasn't even a boss, it was just a dude. And I would have been totally okay with it. I could have read his journal and had him been like, am I seeing things? What's going on? I could have swore I saw someone shut this door. That would have been amazing. That would have been so cool. But instead, they ruin it by throwing enemies at you the entire time. Yes, that is 100% what I'm saying. 100% what I'm saying. Amusement, an amusement park. They made an amusement park, but they didn't put the amusement in it. Yeah, the combat, and I have a big problem with the combat in Fallout. It's fun, it's fine, but check the spider. It's just, I mean, everyone has this experience with Fallout where you're fighting a Mirelurk, for example, and you're spinning in a circle as you like strafe backwards to shoot it, and you shoot it 20 times. And this is a good 60 seconds of you spinning in a circle backwards fighting a Mirelurk. Imagine how stupid that is. Imagine playing Gears of War where that was how you fought every enemy. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. Or Halo, even if you want to do a first-person game. It's so stupid and bad. The combat needs to just turn into kind of like Doom, really. If the combat was closer to Doom, it'd be interesting, but that's the point. It doesn't need it. It doesn't need it. And you're saying you missed Bioshock. This is why I'm excited for Bioshock next week. Remaster. I'm going to play it again for no reason. But it does so much better. Like, we could talk about Gears because I'm kind of excited for Gears. But Bioshock had that And it's similar. It's very similar to Bioshock because Bioshock had this is that guy's area and he's talking to you. This is Cohen's area. This is the Frozen area. I think it's the same area. But that's how Bioshock 1 was broken up. And even Infinite is broken up into kind of its own sections. They don't have their own madmen at the top of each section, but that's how Bioshock 1 is broken up. And it's this crazy idea of that had this crazy idea of a parallel universe where Nuka-World existed before this, right? And then they made Bioshock because there's like so many seeds of Bioshock in this, in how its story is told. But Bioshock already did this 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Bioshock did this. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. You're growing on me. Yeah, pacing. Oh, and let's talk about Far Harbor actually too. The pacing is all off in all of Fallout, I think, but particularly here because it does like, oh, like I'm saying, we have story and then we have combat, and they just like mashed it together to the point of where you ruin the combat. Already isn't that amazing, and the areas actually are super interesting, but they're ruined by the combat. That's beating a dead horse at this point. Back to Far Harbor. I gotta give this DLC props because Far Harbor is very much Fallout. It is the open area. It was the largest area we made. It's 3 different factions and you're learning their whole history, and check the spider and all that shit. It's very Fallout-y. It's not paint by numbers Fallout, but it kind of is. It's very much what you expect. This DLC kind of is different. It almost feels very weird. Each of these areas takes about an hour to do, and they're very self-contained. They don't spill over into the world at all, even just the Nuka-World. Like the place that has robots. There's not robots floating around. There aren't ghouls. There aren't these bloodworms really floating around much around these areas. It would make more sense if they were scary zones, not to mention the narrative dissonance you have to have because there's 50 raiders in this town, and they didn't bother to go do this challenge. I guess they didn't want to. It's so weird. But Far Harbor, what Far Harbor had was, that's the funny thing about Fallout 4's main quest. I spent 40 hours or 30 hours or something with it. I never did. I got to the part where you go into that guy's brain. That was as far as I got. But Far Harbor, I loved the story because it was all talking. There was so much of it, and learning each new area has its leader and their little disciples, and there's intrigue and kind of like this person isn't a real follower of Adam, and da da da, and you're solving this mystery and piecing it all together. And it did have a really shitty defense thing that you did, but the rest of it super awesome and very story heavy. This has 3 raider tribes that have leaders with backstory that doesn't really mean anything or do anything or go anywhere, and it's like, okay, I guess. Not to mention the ending of this DLC is kind of bad. Not the very ending, but right before that you have to start taking, it's an interesting idea, taking raider camps on the Commonwealth. That's cool, but yeah, I would say don't spoil Fallout 4's ending for me, but at the same time, I don't even know who the Railway is. That's how much, or the Institute. Like, I don't know anything. There's that one blimp. That's the Brotherhood, right? I have no clue. That's how much I did of that. I really like New Vegas. That's the thing. In this DLC, or Far Harbor kind of felt more like New Vegas, where it did have the plot and all that interesting tribes and people. Actually, come to think of it, with the strip in New Vegas, that's kind of what they tried to do here in Nuka-World, with the different factions you can pick with. But I liked New Vegas. My big problem in New Vegas was that it was gated more in terms of, like, I can't go north because that crazy scorpion guy's gonna kill me, so I have to go south. Like, that was my only problem with it, which if I played it today, I wouldn't have a problem with. Because back then I loved Fallout 3. It was one of my favorite games ever. Like 200, 300 hours in Fallout 3. Fallout 4 comes out, I'm like, 30. It's just a different time in my life, right? And now I'd be more interested in playing the story and getting quests and just doing quests and not exploring. So I'd probably like Fallout or New Vegas more today as opposed to then. I still really enjoyed it then, but it's a different way to tired from work. Yeah, it's these games have great story, and that's the big problem. Far Harbor was a very good example of how they can tell a good story and still have those combat moments of like the town's under attack, okay, and now I'm going to talk to this guy, and now I'm going to go to this synth man who's a god in this building, and Dima, or whatever his name was, and I'm going to talk to him, and he has this weird relationship with the children of Adam, and what's that about? And you're learning and seeing all these things, and I'm finding this kid, and I found her, I'm talking to her, and that's cool. That's very compelling, and it had none of the main quest stuff really had anything to do with combat. And here they really ruined it. They really ruined it with combat. It's so crazy. And I long have thought about turning Fallout, because I didn't like the combat very much, turning Fallout to like super easy so I can just kill things in one shot. But my argument against that is that this is the default of the game, and everyone is going to play it on the default difficulty level, and so if it's ruined on the default, it's ruined. Destiny has a storyline better than Fallout 4. It might. I never really played much of Destiny. It might. I've played maybe a couple hours of Fallout 1, and I'd actually like to. I thought it was really cool. If they made just a simple reskin of like just a modern UI and stuff, oh, I'd be so into it. What's that game? Outlast? Is Outlast the one game? I think it's Outlast, made by the same devs, or like it's a spiritual successor. I love the idea of Fallout 1. Fallout 1's the one where you need to find the water purifier. Like they send you out of the vault to find the water purifier and go around and do all that shit. I played it for a little bit. I'd probably like it more now than when I played it then. I played it, I think, back around when Fallout 3 came out, and I was just super excited for Fallout stuff. But I think that's what I'd want to see for a Fallout 5, is just completely strip this engine. Just don't even use it. Don't even bother. Just tell an interesting story and have a VATS almost strategy combat. Like a slower paced combat. Not as slow as Fallout 1, because I think modern people would whine and complain about that too much, but you could still have a VATS for everything, and that would be much more interesting. Yeah, more dialogue, more people, more followers. Yeah, it's exactly that. I mean, that's 100% true. But even I feel like Fallout 3's main plot was kind of weak. But Fallout 3's, I mean, just speaking on DLC, Fallout 3's DLC, so much better than Fallout 4's DLC. I'm so glad I bought this season pass before they raised the price, because it is not worth the full season price for just Far Harbor and this. They're really good and nice. Far Harbor's better. I would recommend just playing Far Harbor. But it's like, it's kind of depressing. It really is. It's like, why bother with any of this? It would have been so much better if you could go to these parks and just experience them and see what they're about. And they can still have their storyline, right? They can still have all the audio logs and all the terminals, of which there are many, and not have any of the combat, or have like little combat rooms. It never has an area where like, oh, this is gonna be a cool combat encounter. Very rarely does Fallout in any point do that. And that's what it needs. It needs areas for combat as opposed to just areas. It just has areas for everything instead of combat areas and story areas. You think about like a Mass Effect. You don't really fight anyone on the Citadel or whatever, you know, like this is the story section area and this is the combat section, and maybe that's antiquated. Like, we shouldn't separate the areas, it should just be one cohesive thing. But there's kind of evidence with this. It's like, no, I don't want enemies here mucking it up. I want enemies over here in the alleyway for a designated fight. That's much more interesting than Fallout or Uncharted 4 is a perfect example of that. There's so much plot and story, and it has respect for itself to just show you it, and you're exploring and doing all this stuff. That's what Fallout's about, is exploring. If anyone's ever said they like the combat in Fallout 4 or 3 or any of them, I'm a little like, what do you like about it? Because it's not that good. It's not deep. It's not Dark Souls. You know, it's not. It's just literally shooting and running in a circle. It's not that great. I'd rather have actual combat encounters, more akin to even in Uncharted, where it's just, here's the room where I fight guys. I don't know. It's kind of a mess. It's kind of a mess. I mean, I love. Oh, you can't see. I took it down. I have the Pip-Boy. I loved Fallout 3, like I said. I bought the Pip-Boy edition of Fallout 4. I got the a bunch of shit. I got the bomb, the mini nuke. That's right over here, actually. I love it, but I bought all that stuff for Fallout 4 because I played so much of Fallout 3, and then 4 was just like, maybe I don't like this at all. Maybe it's not very good. That's the combat. Oh, in Metro? Shit, I keep forgetting to play Metro too. I have. Oh, that's why. Because I did the remaster stuff, and I wanted to play the remaster things. One of these days on a Steam sale, I need to pick those up. Because I did play maybe the first hour or so of Metro 2033, and I rather enjoyed it. I do think it has exactly that. It has those moments, and it has a shooter moments. Like, it can be a good shooter. Because it can't do all this other shit, it can actually be a good shooter. Yeah, it's worth it. Every once in a while, it's like $5 each. I should do that. There's not a lot of games I'm interested in this fall, so I should do that. What about the sequel? Just as good? I'd probably get a bundle for cheaper of both of them. Yeah, I've heard so many good things about it, though. So it was great. You know, I played, what was it? Yeah, I don't know. I just can't. Fallout, I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. Man, this engine, they need to really stop saying that we updated the engine. No, you've not updated it. Stop it. This is the same. This is some Frankenstein bullshit. Fix your shit. This typing shit sucks. Oh, you have. Does Discord have a voice chat, like voice to text thing? I'm actually getting a Discord for my own channel because I stream this show here, but I stream Mario Maker a lot on my own channel, and I need to get started on that. But I got a Discord server or whatever. I didn't know you could like text chat. No, it just reads in your mind. That'd be cool. I'm down with that. Phones do that. I don't know. Don't make fun of me. Maybe I don't know how things work. I have 3 Pikachus. Oh, well, 2. Well, 3. There's 3 right there. You can't see the pumpkin. The pumpkin one's off screen. Oh, yeah. No, I haven't tested out doing like voice stuff with streaming and with OBS and all that. I still need to update to OBS Studio. Man, BioShock next week. I'm excited for BioShock. Like, the opening of this DLC. A call-out talk. Yeah, I wish it had voice effect. That would be cool. That would be cool. I consider doing, if this show, it hypothetically ever got like bigger than no one watching, which I guess is technically now, but I would totally consider doing like call-in type of stuff. That'd be interesting, especially if you could do that on Discord and being like, hey, ping in, talk for a couple minutes, and have a little discussion. That'd be super cool. I'd be down with that. No, there's like no show that does that. There's no video game show that does that. A call that I know of, a live call-in type of thing. Maybe like G4 did some stuff like that back in the day. They're saying, oh, BioShock. With the opening of this DLC, it was like, oh, this is kind of like BioShock, but kind of a bullshit BioShock. And I'm gonna play the shit out of BioShock next week. I'm super excited for that. That's cool, man. I'll try and let me click on your name actually. Zombie hugs. Don't hug no zombies, man. The spider's gotten closer. Shit, forgot about the spider. Not good, man. It's not good. Spiders getting bad over here with the spiders. Yeah, it's really fun. I've actually done the show for a while. It's more fun just to talk to people, and I put it up on YouTube and have kind of a discussion. I'm worried about the spider. The thing is, I started streaming an hour and 15 minutes ago. I noticed the spider 5 minutes in, and it's just been slowly getting closer the entire time. Oh, that's another thing too with this DLC. The factions don't mean anything. Like, they don't have any quests. That was what was so interesting about Far Harbor, was all those little quests you could do for each faction, and they don't do anything. Yeah, give me Discord. I just got Discord. I don't know how it works. But let me know. I'd call in or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how the fuck anything works. I don't like the spider, man. It's one of those nice spiders though. It doesn't look like a demon one. I don't think. But it is basically almost overhead. I mean, if it went down right now, it'd be like, you know, you're right in front of me. Right in front of me. Not good. This is now me talking to the chat portion of the show instead of paying attention to anything else. Also, this inventory system. Good God. Could we make a worse one, please? Could we make a worse inventory system? It's so terrible. And you can't sort by, like, the newest thing you picked up. So you pick up these notes and you want to read them, and then you gotta cycle through 600 notes. Like, I guess I should have put these all in a drawer, or maybe you could make a better inventory, please. Ridiculous. Nope, that's not a link. It's on their website, though. That's exactly what I did, too. Ditch Skype. Get out of here, Skype. No one wants you. My upstairs neighbors are so stupid. It's so annoying. They don't, every day at about 2 in the morning, they run the water. I can hear them running the water for a good hour. Just straight. Every day. Every day I'm up at that time. But it's every day. It's every time. I actually have Discord on right now. But here's what we could do. You could send me the thing. You could send me your Discord. And we could probably talk about Bioshock next week. And I could test that out with you. I'd be totally down for that. I just tried to click OBS. That link. I just tried to click that link in OBS, like on the stream display. I'm doing real good. Doing real good today. Is this gonna open up in the browser? Oh no. Oh no. Hello. Sure. The things are out of control. There you go. If you call me now, I'm not gonna answer. It'll do for now. But I'll totally do that. If you're around next week, the show will be starting in an hour, 3 p.m. Pacific time. We can talk about Bioshock. I'll test the whole Discord thing. We can run a test run with all of it on Discord. I don't know how that'll work. Oh, it'll work perfectly fine because it'll just be your audio coming to the computer. It'll work fine. Spider. I think this is where I start going to that's what I said. On my channel? I don't know how Discord works. Oh, it's moving again. Stop moving. You mean my Discord channel or like this channel? Because we are talking. That's what I mean. I mean next week here on this channel. Because I would end the show normally, but there's a spider. I'm real concerned about this spider. Yeah, I joined it. I'm in Discord right now. There you go. Boo. Boo. I have a little picture of a cat. I just don't know how anything works. I don't know how Discord works. I've had it for a week. See, now you're not going to show up on the thing. I have to get a display for. Oh my god! Well, there's all these rules. There's all these things.
There you go. You got it. You got it.
Oh, I don't like this. Hold on, I need to see the audio. All right, that should be about right.
Did you?
It doesn't seem to work that great. You're kind of in and out.
Turn down your shit, man. Unmute your mic too.
Oh, okay. Okay, there you go. Well, I have to manage all these different settings.
I hear you now. Yeah, it's a little bit stupid sometimes, but you'll get a hang of it because it's really easy to get the hang of. Like, I usually just use push to talk specifically for the reason that there's a lot of background noise, and when your stream's going on and when my stream's going on, like when I'm doing talking, a lot of the times background noise will come through from other people talking, and that's why we have like the push to talk thing.
Yeah, I get you.